Science is all about claims and supporting those claims with evidence and explaining why the evidence supports those claims. We're going to use the Lit 101 Regis summary strategy to write claim, evidence, and reasonings about our questions that we have in science. In science, we start with a claim. A claim is simply a statement that answers the question that is posed to us. Claims are not wordy. They are typically one sentence in length, and all they do is answer the question. It is important to note that the claim does not try to explain itself yet. It is simply a statement. Once you have your claim, you will need to support it with evidence. Data can be either quantitative or qualitative. What does the word quantitative sound like? Kind of like quantity. Quantitative data is data that involves a number. Qualitative means the data is more of a description. So if we report that there are 17 students in this room, that is a quantitative observation. If we say that the room has green walls, that is a qualitative observation. A lot of times we record our data and observations in a data table or a graph. The reasoning part of your argument explains why and how the evidence you provided supports your claim. When we do this in class, there should be a reference to the underlying science concept that you are using as a reasoning. So here's something to think about.
I have evidence that proves my dad's a space alien. He speaks a weird language. He drinks green stuff. He says he's from Albuquerque. I'm not buying it. I mean, just look at him. And one more thing, he has a spaceship. The evidence doesn't lie. My dad's an alien.
The highly advanced Audi A6, named the common driver's 10 best.
So what is it that the little girl is claiming? She seems to think her dad is a space alien. The girl's first piece of evidence is that her dad speaks a weird language. Go back if you need to and see if you can list her other pieces of evidence. So I found 5 pieces of evidence that the girl listed to support her claim that her dad is a space alien. He speaks a weird language. He drinks green stuff. He's from Albuquerque. He dresses funny. And he drives a spaceship. So those are all the pieces of evidence that she listed. Now at the end, the girl simply says the evidence doesn't lie. Would you agree that this could support her claim? Why or why not? The why or why not is really the important part of supplying evidence, and simply saying, see, all of this supports my claim, does not do much to convince you or anyone else one way or another. So what might be better reasoning here? He speaks a weird language. So aliens are not from Earth, so they have their own language, and it's probably going to be weird. Even languages here on Earth are kind of weird when you hear them. He drinks green stuff, which is why many aliens are seen with green skin. Makes sense, right? If you have green skin, you must be drinking green stuff. He's from Albuquerque. Now, some people believe that aliens have landed in New Mexico, where Albuquerque is. Makes sense that if they've landed here and couldn't get home, they might take up shop in Albuquerque. He dresses funny. Aliens wear spacesuits for protection. Looks like he's wearing a spacesuit to me. He drives a spaceship. Well, that's how aliens travel, right? Aliens use spaceships to travel. So if he drives a spaceship, he must be an alien. So now that we have our claim, evidence, and reasoning, we can write this out. You may have noticed that this very closely follows the Regis process that we use for Lit 101. Whenever you are asked to write a claim, evidence, and reasoning response, you will use that same format. There's a graphic organizer that is linked in Classroom that we're going to see here. This is a great way to put your thoughts in order, and you're free to use it as you see fit. The first part of the Regis summary is to restate the question. In this case, the question was, is the girl's dad a space alien? So we want to write that as a statement as opposed to a question. The girl believes her dad is a space alien. The next line should be the answer to the question. This is where you make your claim. Here, you can say that her dad must be a space alien. Now, if you want to argue the other way, you could also write that. The G stands for giving evidence. We have 5 pieces of evidence that we can list here, but we only have space for 3, so those are the 3 that we're going to use. So which 3 do you think best support your claim? When you're giving evidence, you really only want to use the evidence that directly supports your claim. So you can pick the 3 best pieces and use those. Now also keep in mind, when you are writing your Regis summary for a lab, you will need to cite your graph and data here. I put in that he speaks a weird language, he drinks the green stuff, and he's from Albuquerque. The E in Regis is to explain your evidence. This is the reasoning that we gave for each piece. Go back to your chart and see which reasons you had for each piece of evidence. Once we have our thoughts down in order, we can write our response. We are going to use the MLA format. There's a link in Classroom to this image if you want to pull it up when you are writing. Some other things to think about include citations. When you write Regis responses for labs, you will be citing data. Be sure anything you cite is included at the end of your summary, so we can go back and we can look at that when we're done. So this would be an example of this in a lab, would be like your graph. So just like we did with the circle lab, where we added that graph and then we cited it, we want to have that graph in our document so we can go back with our citations. Also, don't forget to use transition words in between thoughts. And also, even though this is a science class, we are going to pay attention to our grammar and punctuation. Now, if you notice in Classroom, there is a place to click on. There's a little button down whenever you have an assignment in Classroom. You can click on that and check your grammar. Always do a spell check before you're turning something in. And then finally, you're going to write the summary sentence. This sentence concludes the thoughts of your paragraph while not adding any new information. So you are summing up. A really good thing to do is to go back to that first sentence and kind of rewrite it. You don't want exactly the same sentence, but you want those same ideas. So in summarizing a lab or writing those Regis responses, the R is the restate the claim. Answer the claim in a complete sentence. This is the support or not of your claim. Give evidence for the claim. Cite data or a graph from the lab to support your claim. Explain the reasoning for the claim. Explain why the evidence supports your claim. And then the S is the summary sentence. Prove your point one last time, but with different wording. And again, do not add new information in your conclusion sentence.